and welcome to the Cloud Blue podcast. This is our match preview for Villa's final home game of the season. John, it's come around also quickly. 19 Premier League home games, almost done. Another season rolls by, almost.
Yeah, I think this season's gone actually really quickly. I don't know about you. I think it's the quickest season I've been a part of. I've only been doing this job for 2 years, but just in general, I don't know. I've never known a season like this to go so rapidly. We've played so many games, more than last season. So my only kind of explanation for that is that we played so many games, and that's why it's gone quickly. But that would also be the reason why you'd have thought it'd be, feeling like it was such a long season. So I don't really know where I stand with it, but it feels like we've gone from January to now, like that,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you be talking in January about what kind of impact can Rashford have for not played since Palace and won't play again, but that's gone and done now. We're finished with already. It does go really quickly. You've been to Unai Emery's press conference today, and we'll start there in a second. However, we have to get the title out of the way first of all. Regular viewers, and I say regular, a regular at least of the last few weeks for the Fulham and the Bournemouth preview. I titled them exactly the same. Aston Villa have to beat X. It's as simple as that. As in, forget the other permutations. Villa have to do their job. So today's episode, Aston Villa have to beat Spurs. It is as simple as that. And I have to get this out of the way firstly because all week I've kind of gone big on Villa will win. Calm down, everybody. Forget about jinx. I'm definitely not getting into that now. This should be relatively comfortable. Spurs make changes. It's our final home game. We're very good at home. Add all those things together. 3 points for Villa. We have to, because it's as simple as that, and forget all the permutations. What do you say to that, John Townley?
I was really hoping you weren't going to title it as Aston Villa will beat Spurs. That's what I thought you were going there. Okay, so put it this way. Obviously, it's a must-win game, and I think we've all, after the Bournemouth game, thought, okay, we'll beat Tottenham, and I still think that we will beat Tottenham. However, I can't lie. In the last few days, my feelings of we will win have, I don't know, gone down, I suppose.
Really? Why?
I don't know. I think it's just the fan in me. I really do. Because on paper, you look at it and think Villa will be fine. But the more I look into Tottenham, the more I think it's not going to be as easy as what we think is what...
I'm not expecting to win 6-0, but I think if we win 3-1 and we're comfortable, we'll fully deserve to win.
No, 100%. I can't escape the feeling that Tottenham... We'll put it this way. Tottenham... Their team that they played against Palace was probably their worst team, is what I would say. That's the team I actually expected them to play against Villa. And looking at it, if some of their players, Van der Ven, Romero, Solanke, don't play against Villa, they won't have played for 2 weeks. And you could also make the argument, well, even if they do play, well, they've got the Europa League final in 5 days, so they're not going to be going at it full pelt. They've just seen what Kulusevski's had to go through in terms of knee surgery. So one part of me thinks, well, it's not going to be as easy as what Villa think, because this is Tottenham's warm-up game, so they need to play well to a degree. They can't not turn up and put out a 3 out of 10 stinking performance and lose 4-0 going into the Europa League final. They can't do that. But then equally, the other half of me thinks, well, even if they do play the best players, mentally they're not going to be there. Yeah. And does a 3-0 defeat at Villa Park even matter to them? No, it doesn't. But they do have to put in a performance, because firstly, then I think they do, because Palace was a no-show. The last game that they've played to any sort of degree was Bodo Glimt and AstroTurf. What was it, last week or the week before? So what I'm trying to get at is that they need to do something against Villa. They need to show something, else they're going in pretty cold into that Europa League game. And I do feel like the Man United also need to do that. So that's why I'm kind of balanced in terms of my Villa optimism has gone down a little bit, still high. I still think Villa are going to win the game. But the Chelsea game, actually, I think is now a bit more level, because I think Man United are going to show up a little bit. They might lose 4-0 instead of 7.
Bolg, the villain, says, I can't bear hearing people say we should beat Spurs easily. Of course we should. That just makes me even more nervous. I mean, this is the problem with football preview content, full stop. What do you want us to say? We'll lose. So we think we'll win. Let's just see what happens. I don't know whether their performance for Spurs means anything before this game. They're terrible in the league. They've lost so many games. To me, this just feels like pre-season fodder. Like they've got to show up, like physically. They have to come to Villa Park. None of it matters. Surely, let's say Van der Ven plays poorly tomorrow. Yeah. Does that mean he's not going to get picked in the Europa League final? Does it got any bearing whatsoever? Why does it matter?
Because you need to when you go into that game, you need to feel mentally that you're ready to play. If you've just played a game and you've conceded 4 goals and you're
but I think they're already like
the
Angie's pre-European Cup final presser was like before Villa. Like I think they're like tunnel vision already.
True, but that's not their. That was just a media day thing. They'll do another one before the final.
Even so,
and United had to do one too. I know what you mean, but we all know that Tottenham's main focus is this game, as is the case for Man United. But I do feel like this game is their run up into it, if that makes sense. I don't think they can ignore this game and just basically play the 18s, because against Palace they essentially played the second team. They didn't bring on Romero or Van der Ven for that game. Solanke, Brennan Johnson, they were all on the bench and they were kept on the bench, which means that they will play against Villa. I'm almost certain of that, and I think that they'll start. If they don't start, I'll be shocked, and I think that's terrible man management as well. From Ange, not just man management, but also from a tactical point of view, because I do think they need to play well in this Villa game for them to go into that final thinking like they're in some sort of form. You can't start the final and have 15 minutes of kind of getting back up to speed because you haven't played for 2 weeks. I don't think they can afford that. So that's why I'm less confident, because before I was 100% sure that Villa were going to win this game. Now I'm not going to give a percentage on it because
95.
Well, yeah, someone will clip this up and pretend that they're going to send it to Ange, and Ange will care on an email. But yeah, I don't know.
We haven't done Angie's dressing room's talk for him, have we? By saying that Villa are going to win. Oh no,
we did it for Preston.
Of course, yeah. Us celebrating that draw really cost us, didn't it? In the end.
Yeah. No, I think Villa will win the game. But yeah, I think it's one of those that, and as well, going to the press conference today, my other kind of thought, I guess, was that I hope the Villa players take this, firstly seriously. Of course, they're going to take it seriously, but also treat Spurs with the respect that we have to show them.
Yeah, because ultimately, I won't.
Well, yeah, but the way Unai was today, he was very focused. Every answer was respecting Tottenham, and there was no how do I put it? I think in recent weeks and then in Unai's press conferences, this has been, I don't know, maybe cracking a joke here and there or kind of laughing things off and whatnot. Today it was straight back. It was serious. It was, we have a game to win and we need to win this game. We've done our bit in terms of qualifying for Europe, but now that we have a real opportunity for the Champions League, I think basically it's the situation that if we don't win our next 2 games, then Unai is going to be incredibly I'd obviously swear here, but I can't. Incredibly annoyed, because it's in our hands to win those 2 games, if that makes sense. If we play well, we will win both matches. I'm sure of that. I think he is as well. The flip side is that if we don't get the Champions League, having won 4 games in a row, it'll feel like that's a real shame, of course, but also we've done as well as we could in this period, if that makes sense. After we lost to Palace, apart from that late goal against Man City, we've been nearly perfect. So, we've had a really good run up until now. You need to continue that. If we lose or draw one of the next 2 games, it will feel like that is the reason why we're doing it into the Champions League. When actually that's not necessarily the case. It was previous games.
Yeah, definitely. If Villa have at least got to do their side of the bargain now, and
exactly.
I think they will. We'll get back to what we think about Spurs in a sec. Just a couple of comments quickly from Zach. Last 26 times we played Spurs, we've won 6, which not a great record at all. Especially, games at Villa Park where they've battered us even when we've been good. Adam says Spurs will play some big hitters, but not everybody. Yeah, there'll be an element of rotation. Like you said, they're not going to play the under-18s. A lot of good players will still play, but even their best team, they're 17th in the league for a reason. Like Villa put everything against each other on a level playing field, and Villa should still come out on top most times. Just on the Spurs' kind of form, I suppose, this season, because the European thing definitely is the factor in this game. If Spurs had nothing after this and this was just another game, absolutely we'd just be going, kind of whatever. That European final has kind of bearing on this game, and I kind of wish that the final was after the United game as well, so it had some bearing on our final fixture. But just going on Spurs' form, I've said this kind of thing before, if you take away their name and the badge and the kit and things that you recognise about it being Tottenham, and it was just a football team playing in front of you, they're 17th on 38 points. Villa are in the top 6 and should, as I said, if things were level, win most times. And obviously not now and not ever probably are they going to get relegated on this kind of figure. But I'll just pluck a random league table out of there while you were talking. 2006-07, when I first started kind of properly going to the Villa. And Sheffield United were relegated on 38, sorry. Wigan had 38 and stayed up. Fulham 39. The seasons that Man United and Tottenham have had 15 years ago, they should be going into this final day concerned about actual relegation. That's like how bad they are. It's only that the modern day bottom three is so much worse than these kind of sides. So take everything away from it. Villa are playing what could be, in other years gone by, a relegation threatened team. So why are we nervous about, they might show up they ain't showed up all season? What are we worried about?
They beat us 4-1, didn't they, earlier in the season? But this is the thing. I get exactly what you're saying. And if they were playing Brentford, I'd say Brentford would beat them without even a moment to contemplate it. Whereas for Villa and other teams, a lot of these Tottenham players, let's not fool around. We're getting our team 100%. Because they have some really good players, they really do. But
I actually think Spurs have got a better squad than United out of the two.
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, but for whatever reason, I'm not going to go into it now. Injuries, tactics, whatever it may be. I know that's not an excuse, but I'm just saying they haven't done anywhere near as well as they did last season. They finished 2 points behind us as well last season, so they had a really good campaign, nearly as good as ours. So yeah, they of course had Europe this season to contend with, so they haven't, cope with that very well at all. But yeah, I just think anything other than treating Tottenham with the respect of last season, they finished 2 points behind us in the league. Those are the levels that we have to judge them by, not this season, even though it's staring you in the face that they're the worst team in the league of the teams who aren't relegated is Tottenham. But you just can't, again, because those players, the squad's worth so much money. So yeah, you can't kind of play those games and pretend that they're a poor bunch of players. They're a poor team this season right now. But yeah, if you treat them with anything other than full respect, then that's when in the Premier League you're going to blow up. And again, having gone there today at Bodymore and seen Unai and how serious and intense he was, if he's anything like that, with his players than he was with us reporters, then that fills me with confidence, at least, that the players will be knowing. Final home game of the season. I don't know if we're going to go onto this, but obviously it was moved from the Sunday to the Friday. Probably helps Villa's chances of actually winning the game in the end, I would suggest, because there's less pressure in terms of other teams haven't played before us, and it's under the lights at the end of the game anyway. And yeah, the atmosphere should be crackling. So that's why I think Villa will get the job done. But treating them with anything other than respect will, that's when you can get caught out.
Yeah, and I think the squad and Emery will definitely do that. The atmosphere absolutely will be better tomorrow than it would have been Sunday lunchtime, and obviously we'd have played after some of the other clubs around us as well. So get in there, get the job done, win our game, and then see what unfolds by us putting pressure on some of the others is the ultimate bread and butter of it. Which isn't a phrase at all in that context, but I've done it now and it's live, so I can't change it. Injury updates, John. Are we any further with any of our returning injuries? Tielemans and Rashford are still missing, aren't they?
So yeah, Rashford's played his last game for the club in this loan stint, I guess. I have to caveat that with Tielemans, remains out, and they'll check him again next week ahead of potentially playing against Man United. I think it was always the case that he was going to be doubtful for that United game anyway, but he will be checked. They're both working though at the club's training facilities, Rashford included. Obviously, he was out in the Middle East. Was it Dubai? I think doing some weather camp. Both are progressing well. So yeah. And then obviously Ramsey's suspended. So 3 players out for Villa. Unai said everyone else is fine to play.
There's a question earlier in the comments whether Mings was fit. So obviously he came off, didn't he, in the last game for Torres.
Oh, that was just tiredness. So I mean, Emery didn't mention it today, and again, it was tiredness. The reason why he came off. So don't doubt that he's okay.
Okay, all right.
I don't know anything otherwise than that. So.
Let's try and pick an 11 then. Do you want to give me an 11 that you'd like to see first of all, and then we'll pick a team that we maybe think will actually happen?
Martinez, Cash, Konsa. Oh, I always get stuck at the left centre back. I'm going to say, oh God, can I just say what Unai would say so it gets me out of a hole? I think Torres will play. I think. Do you? I think he will just because it's a home game.
I think so. I think the owners will be asked to create and.
Yeah.
It's really interesting one, isn't it? I mean, we're not going to get into this debate now because we certainly don't have time for it, but the Mings, Torres, debate, I guess.
I want Mings playing against Man United, and if he was tired against Bournemouth, and if there's any sort of risk there, I'd just play Torres. I think either one basically in this game should be fine.
I think so. Yeah, it's just it shouldn't be a. Like how many times have we done this podcast and we go Martinez, Cash, Concert, then what? Mings or Torres? Like it's not. I don't know whether that's a good thing. Options is good, but should you not know which one of your left centre halves should be playing and this one's good for this fixture and the other one's good for other fixtures? Like it just feels a bit like we're asking for trouble by changing it all the time.
Yeah, what I would say to that though is that Villa's defensive record has been pretty impeccable since we lost to Palace, and we've been chopping and changing it. So I guess the facts are that it's been working okay. I mean, off the top of my head, is it 3 or 4 goals that we've conceded in 8 games?
Something like that, yeah.
City and Newcastle, Forest, and another one in there. Someone will probably mention in the comments, maybe. Then left back, I would go with Maatsen.
Yeah, same.
Kamara, Anana, McGinn, Rodgers. I think Essential play again. And then Watkins up front, which leaves you Bailey and Marlon on the bench.
Yeah, I think that's probably a bit of a combination of the team I want to see and the team I think Unai will play. I think Dean, not necessarily in the same couples, that it's like Dean and Mings or Torres and Maatsen, but I wouldn't be surprised if both of those positions change for both of these remaining 2 fixtures, that one of them plays one or the other. Whatever way around that is, I don't know.
I get that, yeah.
Obviously, Tielemans unavailable, so it is going to be Kamara and Nana in the middle. McGinn will play. Rodgers will play. I would like to see Marlon start. He won't. I'd be surprised if he does, because he hasn't so far. So there's obviously a reason for that. Get a couple of games out of Asensio, and whether we sign him or not, we've got him, so might as well use him, that kind of thing, maybe. But I'd like McGinn left, Rodgers 10, Marlon right is what I would like to see, but I'd be shocked if that's what it was.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. The only other thing, this probably sounds incredibly negative, but it could be the final home game for a few players as well on Saturday. Obviously, we don't know. We don't know who, but if we're basing this on last summer and even the summer before that, players, and we know as well in the future as well, players are going to come and go because of PSR. Yeah. So this could be the final home game for a few players, and some of the Louise knew it at the time. We didn't know exactly, but he did, and I don't know if it's the case that some players will know it for sure, but I think some of them may have an inkling that this could be the final game that play at Villa Park in front of a home crowd. So, God, that's negative, isn't it? But I thought I may as well say it.
I wouldn't say it was negative. I think it's probably a forgotten point that, and I'm not going to try and spin this into like is this going to make Villa win or not? But like, there's other narratives around football that we probably don't consider sometimes just as supporters. We touched on this a little bit in the Q&A, that when we talk about kind of like these PSR sacrifices and players dropping off in form and stuff. Well, actually, let me use an example of last year rather than try and like people thinking, oh, he's talking about Tielemans leaving, so he must know something. No, let's use Luiz. Luiz's form dropping off last year because he knows I'm leaving at some point and I've got to sort a house move. And I mean, not specifically for him, but others. Well, what about the kids that are in school? And it's like a whole thing for like, we just think, oh, this player's leaving and that's it, see you later. But it's like there's so many more aspects to it that if going into this game, 4 players know this is the last time I play at Villa Park as a home player. I'm probably going in the summer. Then does that have an impact on the way they play? Does that make them better? Does it make them worse? Like, there's so many different factors that make up a footballer rather than just the 90 minutes that we see them playing. That can have bearings. So I don't think it's a negative point to raise. I think it's an interesting one that we probably think, oh, Matty Cash is playing the game of his life. Well, yeah, because maybe he knows that he's leaving. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be a factor. So, yeah, I find that interesting. Nice one for bringing that up. Thanks, John.
And again, like I've said it a few times, I'm not scared to sell players. I'm not the guy who's doing it. I'll be paid more than what I am now if I was in Monchi's seat.
Very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, but the point being that even if some big players are sold this summer, and I'm not going to go into it now, but the point being that Villa have shown this season as well that they've handled it pretty well in terms of selling Luiz, other players, Diaby as well. So not something that I'm scared of. I think I'll be looking out for some reactions of players. I mean, hopefully we've won the game. I presume they're going to be doing a lap of honour after the game. I don't know. I haven't seen any of that, which I'm surprised about. Has been anything said? I haven't looked. today.
I've not seen anything, but I'll be surprised if they don't. I know it's a night
of
game, but last home game of the season last year was a night game, and they did one then.
Liverpool. Yeah. That felt like we had achieved something though at the time, didn't it? Which
You always get last home game.
I thought that was proper risky. I'm not going to lie, because if Spurs had beaten City, it was wide open again. So I did think it was a bit. I know it felt like we had achieved it, but I was a bit like, don't get Unai on the mic just yet. Unai got on the mic, and Emery Martinez was shouting about the Champions League, wasn't he? And I just thought, like, yeah, like nearly, but that's probably the one time that I think under Emery or Villa we've been kind of celebrating something before we've actually done it. Because Spurs, I can't remember exactly how the game went against City, but I think Son had that brilliant chance, didn't he? I think that was maybe draw level.
But that was that weird game when all the narrative was about, well, Spurs don't want to help Arsenal win the league, and there's all,
it's funny, very funny. But yeah, obviously worked out fine, but it felt like we'd gone a little bit early, I thought, but maybe that's just me being very pessimistic.
Can I ask you a question that leads into your supporter / journalism identity, I guess? I'm wary of how I phrase this because I didn't tell you I was going to do it. I'm alive and we can't change it. So if you don't want to answer properly, just lie and we'll move on. But I'm going to do it anyway. You've kind of spoken a few times about like the Tottenham hate watch and Ange Postecoglou's press.
Cheers, mate. I look forward to speaking to Ange tomorrow.
This is exactly what I mean. So like I always watch his press conferences because he's got some good lines and lose his head or whatever. Like if we've won the game tomorrow and you're in the pressers and Ange is like going on a classic Ange rant, what are you thinking? Like, this is good for work because I get to have these lines, or are you kind of as a fan like, oh yeah, I love this because I've been doing it all season anyway? No, he's there. Look at him. He's almost.
I actually really like Ange. Genuinely.
Oh, he's bold.
Not just from a media. Yeah, it definitely sounds like that. There. Not from a media point of view, but in general, I just think he's I like his honesty. No, last season was a particular Tottenham hate watch, obviously, because they were going neck and neck with us at the moment. It sends a Maresca press conferences. I was watching one this morning, or was it yesterday? I think 10 a.m. this morning that he had it. Googled when it was, 10 a.m. Bang, Chelsea YouTube live stream. Really nice long press conference. I just hang on every word. I don't know why. I was watching the Amorim press conference and it doesn't really influence us at all. But I was thinking, well, what's he going to say about the team that he's going to select for Chelsea? Like it's, it all kind of joins into one. But no, I do like Ange. But yeah, I think everyone will agree that when Tottenham underperform, shall I say, his press conferences and interviews after a game are always extremely entertaining.
Yeah, all right, fine. You handled that question well on the fly. I'm pretty much done besides a score prediction. Is there anything else that we've not spoken about that we should have? Because I've been all over the place today and I will admit I'm not kind of quite up to speed.
No, I mean, Emery is predicting that Spurs play that Spurs play a strong team, that Ange fields his best players. Kind of, again, sort of what I mentioned earlier about not playing the best team against Palace. Is he going to leave them out for 2 weeks? I don't know. But again, the point being that team is sitting in 17th at the moment. So, if Villa play to their best levels, they will. If Villa plays to the best levels, they'll probably thrash Spurs, to be honest. But they have the chance to, because they did it to Newcastle, they've done it to other teams this season. But it's one of those again. Villa just need to win the football match 1-0 and get 3 points. Conversations about goal difference are well in the past now, and they were even at the time because he was so far gone. 3 points on Friday night, and then you go into that Man United game, and oh my god,
if results have gone our way elsewhere as well.
I think you'll be. Would you be more nervous sitting in fifth in the last day, or less nervous? I would be more nervous sitting in fifth, to be honest with you.
No, I'd be less because we'll win. If we're already there, if it's in our hands, you win today, you're in there. You don't have to rely on any more results. We win.
Do you think that we're in a better position to win the game there, or do you know what I mean?
No.
In fifth or out of fifth, right? So if Chelsea beat Man United and on the final day we have to win, but hope that Chelsea don't beat Forest or City lose to Fulham, is that a better position to be in, or is it just if you win this full match, ignore everything else that's happening?
Definitely the second one. I think there's an argument that we're maybe more motivated knowing that we have to win because we also need them to slip up. But Villa, regardless, still have to win. Because, I mean, I suppose the argument is like you could draw at Old Trafford, but if the results go your way as well, you're still fine. But, you know, all we've got to do today is win, and we're in it. So, we'll talk about that next week anyway.
Probably is. Yeah, you don't want to talk about permutations now, then.
No, just not yet. We'll wait and see how the fixtures go. I'm hoping for like a Bournemouth win against Man City, and all of a sudden they're into it as well. Like,
we're there. We're there. Yeah, that Bournemouth beating. Just quickly, Bournemouth beating City would mean that all we would have to do is win against Man United. Of course, if we've beaten Spurs.
Yeah.
And then the only other one would be Chelsea. I said the only other one. That isn't the only other one, but another one that would be relatively realistic is Chelsea not beating Forest. But I do think that Forest need to beat West Ham for that to be alive. To be honest, I know you said that before in terms of, well, Forest will still be up for it. I do agree. But if I'm sitting at Old Trafford hoping that Chelsea don't win, I'm in a much more confident position that happens, that they fail to win, if Forest know that they have to beat Chelsea to move above us. So, Forest winning at West Ham is the result that we need, to be fair. Forget about our situation. We just need to win 2 games.
Yeah. Just on the kind of mentality of their players, we spoke a little bit about before about there's always different factors going on. And somebody said, surely that's like player liaisons' jobs to sort house moves and stuff. To an extent, yes, to help with things, but still, you've got to experience it in your family or whatever else. If Spurs field a strong team or 5 or 6 strong players, or however you want to phrase it, it's a bit like that thing of like players not wanting to get injured before a World Cup in the summer, or to like spoil a potential transfer move or whatever. If it's like a really horrible game and begins flying tackles in without getting sent off, Cash is roughing people up. Are you up for that if you're Spurs? If you're one of the good players who will definitely be playing in the final as well, and you can pick to try and get a bit of form. If Villa are being horrible and it's 1-1 or we're 2-1 up, at that point, surely you just buckle and go, all right, take our foot off the gas here, let Villa do their thing, and let's get out of here without getting injured.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by, if Villa turn up and do their role in this game, they'll be fine. I'm confident of that, not just because we are a better team, as the table suggests, but also what you just mentioned there, Dan, in terms of Tottenham won't want to match our intensity. They are going to shirk out tackles, and you'd probably, even the Spurs fans there would probably say, fair enough, because we don't want you to be injured. And I know the injury can be caused if you bottle a 50-50. That's actually probably more dangerous than not, but just don't enter it in the first place. I think that's fair. This game just feels very heavy on, if Villa do their job, we'll be fine. I think Spurs, if I had to put a guess on it, they're going to start half of the players that will start against Man United, or more than half even, and then they'll rotate at half time, 60 minutes. So if Villa can just consistently put in a good 90-minute performance, then they'll be fine. And that's ultimately all that matters. The Spurs bit is kind of, I opened with Spurs kind of, they've crept up on me as a team that could potentially cause us problems because they have to play well going into the final. But Spurs could score twice against us and we could score 5, because that's that's the team that we're playing against. So it's just a massiff game. It doesn't feel like it's the last home game of the season as well. I don't know. It makes me feel a little bit sad, to be honest.
I'm not quite ready for it.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It all feels like it's come far too quickly, and 90 minutes is going to blow. And I mean, if we've won, fantastic. But then I'll be in the media room and be like, oh, why don't you pop out again and gaze into the stars.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Do what you want, mate. I'll give you a chance to write your score prediction by asking you one final question from Flux Floor. It says, important question of the day, and I know for a fact none of these are. What's John's favourite vinyl in his collection? They're not vinyls, are you, behind you? It's magazines and posters. And...
do you want me to get them down?
Are they vinyls?
They're old. They're programs. So you've got Bournemouth. Let's look at what this is. This isn't filling a gap because I need to write my prediction. This is Bournemouth from last season. The 2-2. You got Sheffield United 5-0. Forest when we lost last season. Wolves. And this was Chelsea last season. This is Lazio pre-season. That's a nice little. Yeah. There's loads more behind me. Score prediction. They're not vinyls, no.
No, I knew they wouldn't be.
What's your favourite vinyl, Dan?
I've not got vinyl, but I have thought about it. Like, I don't know whether that's because I'm getting a bit older, but I like the idea of it probably more so than anything. Like buying vinyls and having a record player feels a bit like, oh yeah, maybe that's something I could see myself getting into.
Not something I'd be getting into.
Nah, wait till you get to you're almost 30, mate. You'll feel differently then. Right. There's a lot of people talking about a Netflix documentary in the comments. I'm sure we've spoken about this before, about just like nothing's happening. John?
No, I don't think so.
That seems to have picked up pace out of nowhere, but we're not aware of anything. So yeah, that's that anyway. Right, score prediction time then. Final home game of the season. I've gone big, as you probably expect. Are you ready, John?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. 5-1.
Yeah, fair. I mean,
2-0 for John, 5-1 for me. It just feels like one of those games. Spurs will score, fine. I don't mind that because I think we'll score more. And I feel like if Villa are flowing nicely and the crowd's good and we're like, wow, this is really quite comfortable. It just feels like one of those games where like maybe it's 3-1, but then Marlon comes on and he scores as well. It's like, wow, this is just one of those days where just everything's going right. We end our season at home on a high, only losing one game in the league all year, and we just feel nice and comfortable. So
that's something that's
5-1. Why not?
That's gone under the radar. That has. We still have one more game to play, so we can't really say it yet. But after that, if we win or if we draw, it's like obviously extremely depressing. So maybe don't even mention it. But if we were to win, lost one game all season, and that was against Arsenal, the first home game when we probably should have won. Watkins was 2 sitters. So in a weird way, we could have almost certainly have gone this whole season unbeaten. If I'm mistaken, apart from the Arsenal game, if we come close to losing at home.
Oh, that's a good question.
Someone in the comments will say something.
There'll be an obvious one that we're like, yeah, obviously it was that game, but
I got time just to quickly I'm on the page already, so you don't have to go through.
Can if you want, yeah. My phone's buzzing like crazy. What's going on?
Mr. Popular.
I wish.
Premier. Of course, we're 2-0 down against Everton and then Wolves, so ignore me. We came very close to losing 3 in a row.
But we didn't. That's the main thing.
They were great games, they were, weren't they? Coming back against Everton, Duran's screamer, and then Wolves. What a stupid comment that was.
Duran's screamer against Everton, not nominated for the Villa goal of the season.
What do you think about that? I presume the reason why is that they can't give him the trophy on the awards ceremony. I presume that is the reason.
I said a few people saying, but you could ship him one. But it's one of those, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's kind of like he's not our player, so you just kind of, that's in the past. You don't kind of recognise. I don't know, it sounds really harsh, but
I do think those awards are based on who's going to be there as well, literally at the ceremony. So or the evening. Like I know for a lot of fans who won't be going, or most fans won't be going.
Not those prices.
No, it doesn't matter to that. But I think actually for the players, it's their night, it's their thing. And if Duran wins 2 awards, I think they'll be a bit like, well,
that's more weird, isn't it? I think is Duran's goal against Everton specifically one of Villa's best goals this year? Yes.
Yeah.
But in the room, whoever is doing the ceremony, the winner is John Duran. And everyone kind of goes, oh.
Well, so that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's based mainly on the evening. It's not actually just like an online thing. But because at first I did think, well, that's just stupid. Duran's probably the best 3 goals of the season. But I think when you think of it like the evening, he's not there. So
ultimately, none of it means anything anyway. I mean, he might win the Claret and Blue goal of the year. So there's always that, isn't there? We can ship him our award instead.
Yeah.
That's the one they all want.
I think if he just continues to listen like he was before, he'd have, he'll get his flowers on air.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That'll do it for this episode of the Claret and Blue podcast. John, thank you very much for joining me. The final home preview of the season. There'll obviously be one more this time next week in the lead up to Man United, our final game of another season, where hopefully we're still at least in the conversation for it all goes down to the final day and what are the permutations of one final round of fixtures. That's all we really want, whether it's 5-1 or 1-0. Villa win this game and that makes next week still mean something. Because if next week doesn't mean anything, might not be a preview, to be honest.
It will be, by the way, before people say that we're not.
There will be, but I won't. Clarity now. I won't want to do it. So, right, John, thanks for joining me. Thanks, everyone, for watching along live or listening to this on the podcast feed after the fact. We really appreciate you tuning in. I'll be live with Matt Kendrick with hopefully, touch wood, everybody, fixed Wi-Fi. Ooh, hopefully, for the post-match show. Not quite yet. I'll tell you about that off air in a second. I'll tell you about that in a second. Yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow night live after the game, 10:30, 11, something like that. Hopefully talking about a big 3 points. So do join us then if you can. Right, thanks for watching or listening to this one, and we'll see you tomorrow.